This Capcom crossover game might be the most preposterous I have ever seen. Capcom's crossover games are known for bringing beloved characters together in chaotic clashes that seem like they were plucked straight from fan dreams, and maybe fever dreams too. From Marvel vs. Capcom's wild showdowns between superheroes and Street Fighters to Capcom vs. SNK's genre-defining duels, these games have made it clear that anything goes in Capcom's world of crossovers. Explosive, unpredictable and packed with over-the-top combos, these titles are all about embracing the absurdity of mashups. But just when I thought that games involving Capcom characters had reached peak absurdity, I might have stumbled upon something even more unhinged that is sure to entertain you when I spotlight it today. Rather than have a game where Capcom fighters mix it up with just one brand's combatants, imagine a universe where everyone wants a piece of the action. Enter Capcom vs. the World, the ultimate fantasy showdown that throws out any notion of restraint. In this unprecedented turn of events, the Capcom roster doesn't just go up against superheroes or rival fighters, they're thrown into battle with characters from countless worlds and genres, resulting in something that is truly ridiculous. So with that said, hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. This is the crazy and at points hilarious Capcom vs. the World. Yeah! If you've ever been a fan of the iconic sprite-based Marvel vs. Capcom series, there's never been a better time to relive the magic. The recent release of a Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection makes it possible to experience some of the all-time greats, now officially available on modern hardware for the first time in years. This collection is truly a love letter to fans, bringing together 7 classic Capcom fighters along with the Punisher arcade beat-em-up, all in one epic compilation. Whether you're a seasoned player who remembers the thrill of arcade combos or a newcomer eager to jump into the high-octane action-packed battles that define an era, this collection is an absolute treasure. Plus, you can unlock a fantastic deal on this collection and thousands of other retro, modern, AAA and indie games through my affiliate link in the pinned comment. Don't miss out on your chance to dive back into these legendary matchups. So, happy shopping and enjoy! On this channel recently, we've looked at both Street Fighter 2 Deluxe Edition, a game inspired by the all-time great that features over 400 roster members, and the ridiculous Marvel vs. Capcom Maximum, a 4-on-4 tag team crossover game that has 158 different fighters. What makes these games so much fun is the sheer chaos and variety they bring to the table. With hundreds of characters to choose from, players can create dream matchups that would be impossible in official releases, given a level of creative freedom that feels boundless. Street Fighter 2 Deluxe Edition and Marvel vs. Capcom Maximum are both Mugen games, meaning they are built within a community-driven open-source fighting game engine that allows fans to modify and create their own rosters, stages and movesets, a framework that raises the opportunity to bring the most ludicrous fever dreams to life, no matter how ridiculous. And speaking of ridiculous, using such an adjective describes Capcom vs. the World perfectly. Some would argue that Capcom vs. the World is the ultimate fan-made crossover concept, where characters from Capcom's iconic franchises clash with heroes and villains and legends from all corners of not just gaming, but pop culture in general, resulting in some of the most outlandish matches anyone could dream possible. Basically, imagine the likes of Ryu and co facing off not only against Capcom's own roster of warriors, but against characters from blockbuster movies, beloved video games, classic comics, animes, and more. Anything feels like it could happen in this surreal fighting game fantasyland. According to the MugenFandom.com database, Capcom vs. the World is a full Mugen game developed by Chun Li. Chun is a well-known American creator in the Mugen community, celebrated for his skill in designing unique characters and stages. He's the creative force behind fan-favourite characters like Solid Snake and Rorschach, which have become iconic in the world of fan-made fighters. His work is renowned for blending classic character design with fresh, exciting concepts that continue to captivate fans of Mugen and beyond, with work commencing on this Capcom vs. the World game well over a decade ago. The project has been released in multiple beta versions over time. One significant update, for example, occurred in August 2013, when 8 new characters and various enhancements were introduced. As one would likely expect, Capcom vs. the World uses traditional 2D fighting mechanics, familiar to fans of Capcom's past crossover titles like Marvel vs. Capcom and Capcom vs. SNK. The now classic Mugen engine allows for fast-paced, combo-heavy gameplay with an emphasis on flashy moves and unique character abilities. The weird lineup of characters, which I can't wait to discuss in more depth with you in a moment, brings together a mix of fighting styles and special attacks that range from powerful Hadoukens to supernatural attacks from fantasy and comic-inspired characters. As like with pretty much all Mugen games though, the level of balance in Capcom vs the world is often a topic of debate among players. Since Mugen games are typically fan-made, they don't go through the rigorous balancing and testing seen in official games. This can lead to characters that feel overpowered or underwhelming compared to others, depending on how they were designed. While certain fighters remain true to their source material's strengths and weaknesses, others can feel exaggerated or unbalanced, with moves that may deal excessive damage or have unusually high defensive stats. Despite these balance quirks, the game's appeal of course lies in its imaginative roster and the sheer fun of seeing dream matchups unfold. For players who enjoy experimentation and fan-made creations, the game provides endless excitement and surprising battles, but it's less suited for those seeking fine-tuned competitive balance. But who cares when we have a lineup like this one? So with all of that said, let's discuss the maniacs that compile this list of fighters in the game. While there are some interesting oddities on the Capcom side of things, who we will soon delve into is the World Team, who are truly a bunch of hilarious misfits. Honestly, I don't really know where to start here, so we may as well start with the best in the world, CM Punk. Yes, that's right, I'm not kidding. The outspoken and worst UFC star in history is a playable fighter in this game, and even has the patented GTS amongst his arsenal of moves. His uncompromising attitude is sure to make him a thorn in the side of Ryu and the rest of the team in this game, and that's just the beginning. In a truly wild twist, cactuars from Final Fantasy make appearances as mid-bosses, and I promise I'm not just making any of this up. This is a game where you can have CM Punk square off against the prickly menace of a cactuar, master of the infamous Thousand Needle attack. Gamers, we are living the dream. And speaking of Final Fantasy, the socially retarded Skullomania from Final Fantasy VIII also joins the roster. He's here, gunblade in hand, bringing in his unique intense focus style to the battlefield. This lineup is just a taste of the wild crossover action waiting in the game, blending personalities and abilities in the most unexpected ways. If you're a die-hard Sonic the Hedgehog fan, yes, I'm talking to the true Sonic enthusiasts out there like Chris Chan for example, you're in for a treat. Your favourite Blue Blur makes an appearance in this game and he looks stunning, with some of the most polished sprite work you'll see. According to the Mugen database, this version of Sonic was crafted by none other than Sean Oatley himself, and it's clear a ton of love and detail went into bringing the Hedgehog to life. From the smooth animations to Sonic's signature moves, this is an excellent addition for fans who just can't get enough of Sega's iconic speedster. Speaking of Sega legends, this title includes one of my absolute favourites, the unstoppable trailblazer powerhouse Blaze Fielding. Known as the First Lady of Streets of Rage, Blaze is an icon in every sense. She's fierce, stylish, and a force to be reckoned with, bringing her signature martial arts skills and relentless spirit straight to the playfield. Blaze's inclusion is a dream come true for fans of classic beat-em-ups, adding that perfect mix of nostalgia, fierceness, and beauty. Watching her throw down alongside the likes of Chun Li is like seeing a true legend reclaim her throne. But hold on, it gets even better. Not only is the classic Super Mario himself playable, but they've also included Mario. Yes, the hilariously offbeat Bob Hoskins version from the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the one Nintendo would probably prefer we all forgot about. This tongue-in-cheek nod to one of gaming's strangest adaptations is pure gold, bringing an extra layer of fun and absurdity. Seeing this character in a fighting game is a sight no one knew they needed, but it's here and it's brilliant. This game doesn't just celebrate icons, it revels in the wild, weird and wonderful moments that make gaming history so special and so unforgettable. #Trust the Fungus. If none of this feels bizarre enough yet, brace yourself because Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is here to take things to a whole new level of strange. Jotaro brings his unmistakable style, attitude, and of course his powerful stand, Star Platinum, right into the action. With his signature barrage of iconic poses, he's bound to make an impact in every fight. On the subject of beloved Japanese cartoon characters, what would a dream fighting roster be without everyone's favourite low-class warrior, filthy Saiyan and insolent fool, yes, that stupid monkey himself, Goku. Frieza might have a few choice words for him, but we know aside from John Cena, Goku's the ultimate underdog who always wins anyway, ready to take on anyone who dares step into the ring. Jin Kazama, Tekken's brooding anti-hero, also steps into an entirely new arena. First introduced in Tekken 3, Jin's distinctive fighting style and complex personality have made him one of the most iconic characters in fighting game history. Now picture him rendered in classic sprite-based form, reimagined for a retro crossover showdown, as that's exactly what we get here. He's up against a lineup of Capcom's finest, with Ryu who brings the spiritual energy with his Hadouken to Mugen blending her graceful moves with demonic allure. The sprite-based art style captures the essence of classic fighting games, while breathing new life into Jin, making every punch, kick and special move feel like a throwback to the golden age of arcade fighters. Sub-Zero and Scorpion of Mortal Kombat infamy are also present, but drawn in a more Capcom vs SNK 2 art style. Rather than the digitised sprites that can be found in the official games, we have hand-drawn characters here, bringing a great level of cohesion to dream encounters that have never happened in an official capacity. As outlined by Mugen.fandom, these fighters are significantly less gory than the other versions available, drawing no blood with their attacks and containing no direct fatalities. Made specifically for Sean Ortley's Capcom vs the World game, they have simple commands and are newcomer friendly. While already celebrated for his appearances in Nintendo's smash hit crossover series, Super Smash Bros., Metal Gear Solid's legendary operative, Solid Snake, makes an unexpected and thrilling entrance here too. Snake isn't your typical fighting game character, he's a master of stealth strategy and close quarter combat, adding a whole new dimension to any brawler he joins. Known for his gritty realism and tactical prowess, Snake brings a unique flavour to the lineup, an unpredictable wildcard in a world of seasoned fighters. Joining the world's team with his signature swagger and explosive fighting style, we also have Guilty Gear's own Soul Bad Guy. Known for his rock and roll attitude and fiery moves, Soul brings a fierce energy to the battlefield, setting him apart as a true rebel in any crossover lineup. With every strike, he showcases his relentless power, channeling an intensity that rivals any of Capcom's most powerful fighters. Now here is an interesting one. Another member of the Rest of the World team is a fighter named Garrett Laurel, a combatant whom it is unlikely you will recognise. This is because he is a fighter from a Mugen game known as Shades of Manhattan. Unlike many Mugen projects, which rely heavily on existing characters from established franchises like Capcom or SNK, Shades of Manhattan features an entirely original roster with unique characters, stories and movesets. It's recognised for its focus on balanced gameplay and well-developed story, setting it apart as one of the more ambitious and polished Mugen games. The game's storyline takes place in a fictional city inspired by the classic superhero comic book genre, where each character has a distinct background and motivation. The story revolves around themes of heroism, corruption and power, with a central narrative following a group of fighters affected by mysterious forces within the city. The cast of characters include vigilantes, anti-heroes and powerful fighters with a mix of supernatural abilities and street fighting prowess, creating a complex and engaging narrative-driven experience. Shades of Manhattan has received praise from the Mugen community for its professional quality, balancing and originality. It showcases the potential of the Mugen engine when used creatively and thoughtfully, serving as an example of how fan-made projects can create unique gaming experiences that feel on par with some official releases. The game has seen multiple updates and revisions, improving its mechanics, roster and storytelling, and is often regarded as a standout title within the Mugen community. So it is cool to see a Mugen exclusive character represented on the World's team. It's a very cool Easter egg indeed. With regards to other quirky additions, we have Rorschach. Rorschach is one of the most iconic characters from Watchmen, a graphic novel written by Alan Moore and illustrated by Dave Gibbons, originally published by DC Comics back in 1986. Known for his unyielding sense of justice, extreme black and white moral code, and vigilante approach to fighting crime, Rorschach quickly became one of the most memorable and complex anti-heroes in comic book history. This masked vigilante wears a distinctive inkblock patterned mask which shifts and changes in response to his facial movements, hence his name's inspired by the Rorschach inkblock test. Unlike traditional superheroes, Rorschach operates outside of the law, often using violent and brutal methods to pursue what he sees as justice. Essentially is DC's equivalent of the Punisher, and he is represented here. In a setting reminiscent of those climactic final stages from Street Fighter Alpha, where the stakes feel impossibly high and the tension is palpable, the next challenger is no ordinary foe. This time, waiting on the other side of the arena is none other than the Man of Steel himself, Superman. Superman brings to the fight his legendary strength, speed and invulnerability, making him an opponent unlike any seen before in any Street Fighter S setting. His abilities go beyond anything most fighters have ever faced, combining sheer raw power with an arsenal of heat vision, ice breath and flight. This bout can lead to an ultimate what-if scenario, bringing together the world of Street Fighter and the DC universe for an encounter that fans could only dream of, an epic clash where Earth's mightiest heroes meet the power of the Street Fighter roster head-on. As for the rest of the Capcom and World roster, let's just say this video speaks volumes about the incredible variety of fighters you'll encounter. Still, there's one Capcom fighter I have to spotlight, an absolute gem who doesn't get nearly the love he deserves. He's quirky, he's unpredictable, and in my opinion he's one of the most underrated characters that ever graced the Street Fighter series. I am of course talking about none other than Skullomania. Skullomania isn't your typical Street Fighter character, which is partly why I love him so much. Decked out in a full-body skeleton suit and fighting with a mix of acrobatic attacks and flashy moves, he's as eccentric as he is thrilling to watch. Created as a parody of tokusatsu superheroes, Skullomania blends theatrical flair with unexpected moves, giving his fights a style that's distinctly his own. He may not have the powers of Ryu's Hadouken or the terrifying presence of Akuma, but he's got heart, charm, and a flair for the dramatics that make every battle he's in interesting. Never leaving the confines of the EX series in an official capacity due to being owned by Eureka, this Japanese salaryman, dressed as an action hero, appears in a glorious sprite-based form we have been deprived from in all of the sanctioned games. Mugen.fandom outlines that this version naturally features custom sprites created by Sean Ortley himself to match the game's aesthetics and features gameplay mechanics from Capcom vs SNK 2, The King of Fighters, Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Street Fighter 3, as well as the entirety of Skullomania's Street Fighter EX moveset. He's bloody cool, that's for sure, just like the rest of this epic Mugen project. Capcom vs the World stands out as a love letter to the wild creativity and unrestrained fun of fan-made fighting games. It brings together a lineup of characters so delightfully over the top and absurd that you can't help but be charmed by the sheer ridiculousness of it all. Where else can you see someone like Superman facing off against Skullomania? These are the kind of imaginative matchups that, for the most part at least, could only happen in a fan-created world, where passion and playfulness lead the way. It must be said that in many places the incredible sprite work really shines here, an art form that brings the characters to life in a way you rarely see in any officially sanctioned Capcom fighting games these days. Each character is animated with care, showcasing meticulous detail and expressive moves that give them a personality all of their own. The sprite work goes beyond simply recreating the characters. It captures their quirks, style, and even their most outlandish traits, turning every fight into a vibrant, pixelated spectacle. If you have sat through all of this so far, I think it goes without saying that Capcom vs the World isn't about perfect balance or polished mechanics, it's about celebrating the fun and flair of these characters in a setting where anything goes. This game doesn't just let us play with our favourite characters, it lets us embrace them and all their ridiculousness and the artistry that makes each of them unforgettable, and this is why the game deserves your respect. Don't forget though, if you like classic games, I can get you a huge discount on the Marvel vs Capcom fighting game collection, as well as great deals on thousands of other titles too, simply by using my affiliate link via the pinned comment. It's well cheaper than buying directly through Steam, and it supports the production of these videos simultaneously, so happy shopping and cheerio!